Hello, welcome to McBoss Capital. My name is Michael Chu. We're going to talk about the U.S. market for the week ending March 27, 2026. And then later, we also just highlights some growth stocks that are still doing okay. For this week, the market really took another big tumble. Here's the Nasdaq weekly chart. We are 9 weeks from this high right here, and we have been hitting new lows. Right now, we already, went below that black line, which is a 200-day, and we are really in nowhere support level. We're getting close to the previous high here, which is 20,204 on Nasdaq Composite here, and right now we're at 2094.8. We are in a correction now, 12.8% from this high right here. And yeah, it's been 9 weeks since that top. It doesn't look really good. We're seeing high volume at the bottom here of distribution, a lot of selling. Who knows when this will end? Obviously, a lot of this is related to, especially recently the Iran war, and just a lot of things are happening. Here's the daily chart. So on Monday, we did start off the week pretty strong. We came up to the green line, which really has been acting as a resistance level. You can see I draw a line right there. And then it rejected like from that line, and then it came down pretty hard. Um, and then as the week progressed, it just got worse and worse. Like Thursday and Friday, it just gave up. So we did start the week, where President Trump said that there is productive peace talks to end the Iran war, and obviously he also, sent the peace plan. But then Tehran did dismiss it, and the Strait of Hormuz still remain closed. And then by Friday, by I think yeah, by Thursday, Trump extend the negotiation deadline till April 6th. In the case where they would hit their energy plans and so forth. And so that also continued to send oil price higher, despite the deadline was extended. And right now, the major index have tumbled to near 6-month lows, and any rally attempt is now no longer alive. Some of the things that's happening as well, we see like Treasury yield jumping to 4.4%. U.S. crude oil is also jumping to 99 and even past 100, I think, on Friday evening. And right now, market seems to be discounting any of Trump's upbeat comments as Iran wars continue and physical shortage in energy become, more prevalent. Also, on Friday night, I think there was news that Iran ally Houthis of Yemen joined the conflict, firing ballistic missile at Israel. The risk here is obviously any potential disruption to the Red Sea tanker traffic, which could halt Saudi Arabia's, bypass the Strait of Hormuz western pipeline. So these all are big concerns for the week coming. And so definitely more turmoil may be happening here as this war continues to drag out and yeah, it doesn't seem to have de-escalate so far. So the market is very nervous about how prolonged this war can be and how much it will impact the whole world's economy, especially countries that really depend on the supply by the Strait of Hormuz. This is S&P 500 index. We also topped roughly 9 weeks ago here. Um, we currently sitting roughly 9.2% from the top here. So we were close to a 10% correction on S&P as well. And we are also very near to the previous high here, from early last year, which is 6,147. Right now we are at 63.68. Here's a daily chart very similar to Nasdaq where it got rejected at the 10-day line. Again, that is the 10-day line. Downtrend right now. We obviously a little bit oversold this at this point, but sometimes at extreme situations, market can act very extended. We could go further down even, right? So just because it is overextended right now from the 10-day doesn't mean it couldn't go down lower, especially at very volatile, like extreme, tensions right now, and oil price continue to go higher. Here's Dow Jones Industrial Average. We are also coming down really hard. Right now it is over 10% correction, slightly over 10%, and we are also near the previous high here. So not really far away, just 100 points away. So we'll see if we can find any support there. Hard to say. Again, lots of potential, further correction here if things continue to be, escalate tensions in the war stuff. On the daily chart, it looks slightly better at the beginning of the week. We try to come up to the green line once again. The green line, the short-term moving average, has been a downtrend line and resistance, and it got rejected there Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday as well. And before it turned lower by end of day on Thursday, and Friday we make a new low. So again, it's just a very tough time to swim against a current that is coming down hard on you. It's not worth, I personally, it's not worth the time to trade against that in this environment. So here's Russell 2000 index. One thing that you will notice very interesting this week is we didn't make a new low despite, what happened to the other index. Last week we came down to the 200-day line, which we, actually found support this week. We went up pretty strong early in the week, but we came back down by the end of the week. But again, the little detail here is that it didn't make a new low. Now, by definition, usually that's a good thing from a technical perspective. But again, we are very close to a new low though. Um, but it is a relatively, you can see the relative strength actually came up against S&P 500 because of that, right? So, here's the daily chart, and we can see we bounced back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, even to the 21-day line before we got rejected there, and we came down. And right here, the week ago we did touch the black line, but this week we haven't touched it. We came close to it, and we also still above the previous low. So there's some little bit of strength there, relative wise. And also the other interesting is look at this relative strength line. Like it's not that far from the previous high as well. So that is actually also interesting. Um, so perhaps when this correction is over, we could see Russell, maybe leading the charge. Who knows? We don't know. But at least right now, it looks pretty good from that perspective. Again, I wouldn't jump into this downtrend at this moment, but pay attention to maybe smaller cap stocks. Maybe there's some that are resisting this downtrend more. And find relative strength stocks that are performing slightly better. Here's the Innovator IBD 50 ETF. We did make a new low this week. Not by much, but still down 1%. And very similar, we bounced back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to the green line. Again, we found resistance there. Thursday, Friday was just too overwhelming. Although Friday's bar here is very, very narrow. But we got, make a new low and volume really low here. That's interesting too. So, again, study the 50 IBD ETF and see if there's any rotation there. If you subscribe to them, you can see that list. So here are a few key things that I think a lot of investors might be paying attention to. One is the 10-year Treasury yield is hitting new high this week. It went up to 4.44%, which is the highest in a long time here. So that is not good. So we'll see what happens, but this is not a good thing. The Treasury yield, there's an expectation of a rate hike this year now. All of a sudden, people are talking about it. So that doesn't bode well for, in terms of helping out the interest rate and so forth. Quickly look at the US dollar here. It is near highs as well. Not quite the new high, but it is near the high. And of course, everyone is looking at the U.S. oil dollar here, U.S. dollar, U.S. oil. And the oil price right now is, as we said, near $100. This ETF is definitely showing that is a new high as well. This is a weekly chart on the gold price. Is actually up for the week, so that is also very interesting. It has fallen pretty hard recently, and now it actually found support. So we can see here it's starting to come back to the green line. We still have that as a resistance level, so we'll have to watch whether it can even though it find the low support here, we still need to see if we can break through the high resistance level, including the 10-day and even the pink line, which is also coming down pretty hard on 21-day. moving average. Here's a look at Bitcoin. It is also deteriorating somewhat here. We tried to come back above 1021 day. We couldn't. Trying that many times, and then we also start to fall apart here Thursday and Friday, further below that moving average. Although we haven't made a new low in a while now, we did undercut the bottom channel line here on Friday, so that could resume this downtrend possibly. So going into next week, we do have Tesla deliveries numbers showing up before the open on April 2nd. On Monday, we will see Fed Powell also talking at the Howard University. We'll have the Conference Board Consumer Confidence Index out on Tuesday, and we do have the latest job report as well due in the week. And I think Friday, yeah, Good Friday, the market will be closed. So for the week, we see some of the ETF here. Again, we already talked about IB50 down this week. SMH, the semiconductor down 2.7%. IGV, the software group, took a big hit this week, 7% down. We see the metal and mining group bouncing back 4.1%. And we see energy jumping 5% here. XLI is down 1%, XLV is down 1%, and XLF is down 2%, over 2%. We'll start looking at the semiconductor group here. Again, we have another week down this week. We were doing really well. We were close to the red line, but once again, we got resisted there, and then we came down and we make a new recent low. Right now, it says it's 12.5% off the high from the 52-week high here. So, from that perspective, it doesn't sound too bad at all. You can see even the relative strength line is, not that far below the high here. So, but we did, like I said, we did, kind of undercut the recent low here. So that is the problem. Generally when you undercut a previous low, it is technically in a downtrend momentum. And so, either it could accelerate, who knows? We could try to find support near this level here. These are the previous lows. And then we have the 338 level, which probably coincide with the 200-day here. Again, those are different levels. You could see if there's any support, but looks like if we do break this 372, 374 area, we could go down to 338 here. Here's Nvidia. Again, we haven't done anything good in a while now. We're just stuck in this range. But recently, like I said, things hasn't been good, and now Nvidia is actually hitting new lows now. 167, and even after hours it went down more. But you see the previous value here was 169. We have a 164 level much further back here, but again, that's not much difference there. Only less than 2%. So if we break all these lows here, there's really no more support level. It could go down even much further. So that is the problem right now with a lot of stocks. They're losing a lot of the key level support. Here's AMD. It did make a move this week, but then quickly came back down. Right now it's still at the bottom channel line, which is near the black line here as well, trying to find support. Next we have ARM. Just like AMD, it tried to make a move, but we came back down pretty fast. Although it still look pretty good because we have that 1-day jump. They announced some AI chips they're gonna be building. So that is the good news there. AVGO also broke the bottom channel line. We're getting close to the lows here, 295. So we'll be watching for that low if it can find support. Here's TSM also in a downtrend line. Also slightly breaking to new low, recent low here. We have 319 as a previous support here as well. We'll watch for those support. Here's the IGV ETF software group here. We bounced back really strong a few weeks ago, but then we start to find resistance around the short-term moving average. And then this week we just gave up 7%. Here's a look at the daily chart. Again, this was near the 10-day 21, and all of a sudden we found resistance, and we now all of a sudden we form a downtrend line once again. And it has dropped really quite significantly this week. Here's Palantir. Very similar to the chart. We were looking for support near 10-21 day, and then we just couldn't hold that, and we broke back below the short-term moving average on Thursday and Friday. Microsoft looks really bleak right now. It is making a new low here. This is very drastic correction right now. 35% from the high here, so not looking very good at all. Like this is really bad. Like I mean, we are getting close to the previous last year's low. That is amazing. There's Google down 21%, getting close, also coming down hard this week, coming close to the black line, 200-day moving average. Meta also suffer a big drop this week. It is down 34%, very similar to Microsoft. We are getting closer to the 500 level, which is near the previous last year's low. Amazon also got rejected at the red line here, which is the 10-week moving average. It is down 22% from the high, and we are also getting close to recent low 196 here. Here's Apple. Apple, surprisingly, doesn't look as bad as others. It's holding on to its 200-day black line here support. It is trading near the 1021 day, very close to it. And like I said, it's trading really tight here, surprisingly. Looks pretty good from that perspective. Relative strength, not too far from the high here, recent high here, so that also looks really good. Tesla also tried to come back early this week, but then found resistance at the 1021 day. Thursday and Friday it basically shot back down and make a new recent low. So downtrend is still intact, and we'll see what their delivery numbers look like this coming week. Netflix surprisingly trading very tight. We came up pretty strong, a few weeks ago. Then we start to slide, and from there we're still holding on to the short-term moving average. This is actually quite amazing. And the volume on the sell side has really decreased, and then on the buy side have increased quite significantly. I'm starting to like this chart. Pay attention to this Netflix. Once this downward momentum, if we have any good news, if again, I don't know how much that will, when that will come. Any good news around the war, around the oil price, but Netflix is showing a lot of resistance here and trading really tight. That's exactly what you want to see on the pullback. Even though it's been more than a few weeks now, but it still looks really good. For the second segment of this video, we're going to talk about the growth stock list I follow. So in general, IBD, obviously their signal is still pretty much in very low allocation right now, 0 to 20%. Basically that we are in correction mode. Now, surprisingly for the week, the volume wasn't as high, and so the number of stocks being accumulated and distributed wasn't that big. And surprisingly, we even see more accumulation than distribution. But by Friday, again, we're seeing more distribution, meaning more stock selling on higher volume. And on the industry group, very similar action here. But again, the numbers are quite different from the week ago. Again, despite that. That's the overall number. On the sector side, we can see, there was some progress on Wednesday. This is the net accumulation minus net distribution, and obviously energy area, some of the commodity area doing really well, mostly oil and gas. And then everywhere else we're seeing distribution by Friday, like more distribution. On my growth stocks list, which is roughly around 560 stocks at this moment. Again, earlier in the week we saw improvement in the uptrend of stocks, but then by Thursday, Friday we saw more stocks go back into downtrend, and so then we are now at 11% of stocks that are only in uptrend. So very low, again, this is very tough environment. We're talking about roughly 1 in 10 stocks are in uptrend, and so and even those ones that are in uptrend are probably the oil and gas as we just saw, and and then again probably even then some of the stocks will be quite choppy. So very tough environment to make money here. So here's my growth stocks list for this week here, ranking by in column 1 here by performance. The performance are ranked since January 6th. Of course, we are at March 27 now. We are end of the earnings season. April comes, we will start the new earnings season, and so that's where we at. So yeah, on this stock list, there's only 60 stocks that are in uptrend, and meaning they're above their 10 and 21 day. Most of them are in downtrend. They're below their 10 and 21-day moving average. Also, not many stocks are making new high here on this column here on Friday. So again, it just shows you how tough this market is. Yeah, and then we see the sector and industry group here. So we have some news related to the memory chip area this week. Like Google unveiled a compression algorithm that could mean far less memory is needed for some AI tasks here. And obviously, a lot of the memory stocks have skyrocket in the last few months, even more than that, and their earnings have been really good projection wise as well. But this news really hurt those stocks this week. So we'll look at that chart right now. Here's Sandys pulling back. Now we are at the red line. Well, last time we did find support there. So this one also tried to find support on Friday. So there's some little bit of strength still, but again, we didn't close at the top. So that doesn't really mean too much for me because it's still under the downtrend line. MU is also going down pretty hard. Look at this. This is actually making new recent low. Again, Friday it didn't make a new low, so but at the same time, it didn't close at the top either. But we're still under the downtrend line. Let's see if we can actually bounce from here. WDC also pulling back to the red line as well, and STX is slightly below that red line as well. So they're all pulling back. And hopefully, there's no more other bad news, then they could drop further. But this week they definitely took another leg down. The other area that also got a big hit this week was computer security software group. AI giant Anthropic is testing a powerful new model called Claude Mythos, and basically it will try to roll out this model that will help um, with identifying unprecedented cybersecurity risks. So that also hurt some of the stocks, security stocks like Palo Alto, CrowdStrike, Rubrik, Zscaler. So we still have the fiber optics at the top here. That includes Lumentum, VF, and CN. So this is LIT Lumentum pulling back this week. Friday it bounced a little bit, which is again, from a relative standpoint, Friday was good because market was down, but this stock didn't go down, right? So that's the reason why, from a relative standpoint, it's good. But we are, still in a downtrend though, even like at least a short-term downtrend here. So we'll see if we actually bounce off this short-term moving average here. But Lumentum is the number one performance stock on my list, so that's interesting. CN also pulling back, very similar chart, and VIAV, which is Viavi Solutions, also pulling back. Again, all these stocks did find some support on Friday, so again, we want to see if we can follow through, right? Usually it bounced back from the 10-day, and then that's the first day, and then the second day we need to follow through with that action and see if that works. Next, we have ICHR in downtrend. This is a semiconductor. Then we have EQNR in the oil and gas area. So I just filter by oil and gas and other energy related areas. We're seeing lots of them are in uptrend, so that is quite significant compared to any other sectors right now. And so we have EQNR with his EQNR Equinor, trading near the highs right here. It pulled back recently, but look at this bounce very fast. It came back up. Here's VIST, very similar chart, also pulled back recently and then bounced back really fast. Here's ENI, also bouncing really fast here after the recent pullback. So all these stocks are doing well. Again, of course, oil price help, oil and gas prices help. We also have FET here in the machinery area. DAR, this is agriculture. This one also, look at this uptrend. This is a tremendous uptrend here. Very strong move right in this moment. We have KGS in the oil and gas. We have FTI also in the oil and gas machinery. AR, RSC, oil and gas related. CNR, this is energy cold. His core natural resource. This one recently breakout, nice breakout right here. Look at this upward momentum on the 10-day moving average. It's a very steep slope, making new high on Friday. It looks really good. YPF, we have oil and gas integrated here. Again, we're seeing the gold stocks, they're still in downtrend at this moment. But again, like I said, they did bounce back a little bit this week. We have PSX, CQT, oil and gas related. We have more coal stocks down here, AMR, HCC, BTU. CRK, X-Pro in the oil and gas area. We have SQM in the agriculture area, EXE in the oil and gas, and same as MTRX. So those are some of the energy plays, coal play, and some agriculture play. Going back to my main list here, we have MOD here that is in uptrend in the building heating products area. Eton, this is biotech. We have Glow in the electrical area. Again, like there's lots of stocks in downtrend too, even in the top 20. So feel free, I'm not going to go through them. Form in the semiconductor, TSEM also, those two, did really well recently. Dell, these three, yeah, they all did well recently, but they've been pulling back pretty strong. So this one make new high recently before pulling back here now. We're trying to see if we can find support near the short-term moving average here. This is Dell, also doing really well after breaking out here. Right now it's pulling back to 10-day. TSEM, this one also breakout, and now it's pulling back to close to the 10-day. So again, these three stocks, we'll see if they can find support at the 10-day, but they look really strong. We have DVA in the outpatient home care. APEI, this is service education. In the telecom infrastructure, we have UI. Oh, this is in downtrend at this moment. UNFI in the wholesale food. ESC in the machinery, general industrial. Again, we're seeing lots of downtrends here. We have FN, talk about ARM, CARG in the core business here, internet content. We have Marvell also bouncing, still in uptrend. IESC in building maintenance service. These are some of the names that are still in uptrend. KC, it's a retail supermarket. AHCO in the outpatient home care. And another telecom service, AT&T. We have Geo in the finance property REIT here. We have PRDO. This is another consumer service education. NFG utility gas distribution. We have chemical specialty here, ESI, and we have FUL also in the chemicals area. So again, there's not many stocks that are in uptrend. Feel free to check out this list, but yeah, it's just very meek. Not many stocks at all, unfortunately, and so many stocks are in downtrend. So we're really just trying to find a bottom here for a lot of these stocks. Thank you all for watching this video. Let's see what's gonna happen. It's too unpredictable right now, this market. A lot of people argue, and I'll finish with this last point here. A lot of people tend to say, when wicks hit a new high, when there's lots of panic selling, that's usually when the market would bottom. And recently, despite all this selling, we haven't seen a new high in the wicks, and that has been a problem. We did hit a higher high on Friday, but we're nowhere near 35, which was formed like a few weeks ago. So perhaps we need one of those days to find that bottom. But anyhow, I'll just leave it at that. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again. Bye now. Please like and subscribe.